Good evening. The Design Review Board number 1 public meeting of January the 13th, 2001 is called to order. Happy New Year to everyone out there. Please refrain from talking amongst yourselves and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones and pagers. If you need to talk, please leave the meeting room. Anyone who wishes to speak, including applicants, is asked to completely fill out one of the speaker cards provided at the table by the front door and submit it to staff. You will be called to present a case or speak on a specific item as desired. Anyone who wishes to be re-noticed about a certain project must completely fill out one of the postcards provided at the table by the front door and submit it to staff to receive notice of subsequent meetings. Current Design Review Board agendas are available by calling our Design Review Board hotline at 818-548-3171 or by visiting our website at www.ci.glendale.ca.us. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and Design Review Board reconsideration and appeals is available at the table by the front door. Please note that all appeals must be filed within 15 calendar days of the Design Review Board decision date. The chairperson may reorder agenda items at his or her discretion. Roll call. Board Member Aliano is absent this evening. Board Member Palmer. Here. Board Member Simonian.
Present.
Board Member Yu.
Here.
Chairman Insua.
Here.
Report regarding posting of the agenda. The agenda for this meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall at or before 5 p.m. on January 6, 2011. Oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. The board may question the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The board may refer the matter to the proper department section for investigation and report. At this point in time, I have no cards for oral communication. Chairman Insua? None?
None.
None. Okay. Brings us to the review calendar. Currently, there are no staff announcements at the moment, and we have 2 items on tonight's agenda for design review. I would like to turn the meeting over to Chairman Insua.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone. Happy New Year's, 2011. Let's get started with the first project. The case number is 1 PDR 2010-025B. Project address is 1636 Hasbeth Lane, and I think we're ready for our staff report and presentation.
Yes.
Good evening, Milka.
Hello, good evening. As you stated, this project is located at 1636 Hasbeth Lane. The project was last reviewed on August 19th of last year, and the board made a motion to have the project returned for redesign. The applicant is proposing to remodel the exterior facade of the existing one-story, 2,595 square foot single-family house, which has currently a detached 2-car garage, which is 492 square feet. The proposal involves adding 99 square feet to the first floor at the front entry, and that would mean that the front entry will be relocated, and a new 804 square foot second-story master bedroom addition is being proposed. The new second story will be located towards the center of the existing house and set back from all sides. The total area or floor area with the addition will be 3,494 square feet. And as part of the exterior remodel, they are proposing new colors and materials for the house, including new smooth stucco finish, concrete tile roof, and aluminum windows. The project is located in the R1R restricted residential zone floor ratio District 2. What I like to do is walk you through the plans briefly, and then I'll go into what in the staff report where it discusses the board conditions that they had made at the August 19th hearing, and then from there explain how the applicant addressed those comments or conditions, and then wrap up with staff's comments. Okay?
Well, were we all present at the previous hearing?
Let me... Hold on. At that meeting, Board Member Aliano was present. He was the one who made the motion. Board Member Palmer was present. You second the motion. And Board Member Insua was present. Board Member Simonian was absent, and Board Member Yu voted no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Milka. Go ahead.
I actually have some additional plans behind this. These are actually the old floor plans. I just put them up for reference. These are the old elevation, well, the previous elevation and roof plan. These are the new plans right in here. We have the new rendering perspective, the elevation drawings section, the new roof plan, and the site plan did not change compared to the previous submittal. Mainly the plans or affected areas, again, would be the elevations, the roof plan, and and the floor plans with minor modifications. Any questions? Okay. So the board comments at the August 19th hearing was to, 1, redesign the second-story addition to be more in keeping with the existing architecture. By design the second-story addition, especially the front entry, to be more horizontal, to eliminate any continuous two-story volume, and to extend the proposed eaves to match with the existing. So the applicant has redesigned the front entry by eliminating the vertical two-story volume and introduced more of a modest one-story entry. The modification to the front entry integrates well with the existing and is also in keeping with its existing ranch architecture. The eaves have been extended with approximately a 2-foot overhang to match the existing overhang as much as possible. And from what I measured, the existing overhang that's shown on the plans and on site appears to have a cantilever which ranges anywhere from 2 to 4 feet. Number 2 was to consider using an additional variety of materials where appropriate as exhibited on the existing conditions on the house. So the existing materials on the house currently include stucco and stone veneer on the chimney and the planters. So the applicant is proposing to apply new smooth stucco finish on the house and to construct a new planters with stone veneer to match the existing stone material on the house. The existing stone material on the planters and the chimney as close as possible. And I believe he's also going to introduce adjacent to the new front entry relocation, the planter, and we can actually see that on the bird's eye view up on top where he's introducing a planter to be somewhat aligned with the front entry. Number 3 was to use fiberglass or aluminum windows in lieu of vinyl. And again, the applicant is proposing to address that condition by introducing bronze-colored aluminum windows. Number 4 was to enhance the existing retaining wall. And the way the applicant is addressing this comment, since this is an existing retaining wall, is that they're proposing creeping vine in front of the existing retaining wall that is located along the west side of the property, again, in order to screen its visibility from the street and adjacent properties. And number 5 is to consider relocating the stairs inboard. Upon reshaping the front entry volume, the second floor shall not be any closer to the view east side perimeter of the ground floor. As noted in the comment that I noted in number 1, the 2-story entry volume was eliminated and replaced with a modest single-story entry. The design modification, again, integrates well with the existing horizontal appearance of the house. The second floor addition will maintain a pretty significant setback from the ground floor, and the differentiation between the second floor stair volume and adjacent spaces should be enhanced on the exterior, and I will address that further in the comments I'll go over that staff is recommending. Number 6 is to legalize the gate at the fence along the driveway, and again, this will be addressed during the plan check process. And number 7 was to double-check consistency between the floor and elevation details, such as the windows and doors. And upon review of those revised plans, they appear to be consistent. So unless you caught something that is inconsistent, please let me know, because I really try to do diligent work in reviewing those plans. So as far as staff recommendation, staff has a comment. First of all, we do recommend that the project be, as proposed, be approved because it is compatible with the design guidelines and the overall neighborhood context. So staff had the following comments, and that was to increase the difference between the stair volume and adjacent spaces from 6 inches to at least 18 inches in order to adequately differentiate the forms. And let me just go over to the board and address where we're referring to. This area right in here that appears to be, there's a small differentiation, I believe, of approximately 6 inches. So that staff, in order to differentiate the two forms, is recommending 18 inches. It's because it almost looks somewhat flush, but it's not.
And what does that mean? Can you find a different way to describe it? Because I want to make sure it's crystal clear what your recommendation is.
Just set back this, or, I mean, it's up to the board. If
Right.
they don't feel setting it back is appropriate, it could be moving forward.
But again, what is the...
To create, right, do you want me to read the
Right,
comment again?
so have a
Right,
little
to
bit of
have
break
like
in
a
the wall
break
there.
in the
I
wall,
understand.
correct.
Okay, good.
But I think it's in, she's saying that because they only have like a 6-inch accidental looking break.
Right,
So
you
it's either
can,
emphasize it more or.
here, you could probably see it better on this view here, on the second floor plan. Any questions? The second comment, or actually the remaining comments, comment number 2, 3, 4, and 5, is just basically reiterating what has already been expressed by the board. We just want to emphasize it, so when you make the motion, if you decide to approve it and they move forward, we just want to make sure that this is actually stated as a condition of approval. We're recommending that it is, so that if there are modifications made throughout the construction phase, then we can come back to this condition of approval and say, no, you are required to have, for example, aluminum windows, not white vinyl. So again, it's just to emphasize what the board has requested in the past.
Okay.
That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I am available to answer them.
Do we have any questions for staff? Okay, thanks. Mr. Simon? Okay, thank you. Well, we have one speaker card, and the speaker name is Mr. Sam Yosefian, the architect. Welcome, sir. If you don't mind, your name and address one more time for the record.
Sam Yosefian. I'm the architect of the project. My
Good evening, sir.
office address is 1431 Huntington Drive, South Pasadena.
Thank you. If I remember correctly, you have 5 minutes for the presentation.
I won't even take that much.
Very
I
good,
used last time more than.
No, take as long as you want, sir.
Actually, the comments that were given, I looked them seriously, and we had a meeting once with the planning, Ms. Stephanie and Ms. Tolida, and I'm ready to answer any questions you have. Actually, Mr. Gevgelian, the owner, was not able to come. He's in Canada. His mother passed away, so I'm here.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, as I told you, whatever comments were given, I looked very seriously and took care of them.
Thank you. Well, let's see if we have any questions for the architect.
A question regarding those standing walls that you see both on the east elevation.
Yes,
Are they block or are they faced with something or what's
it's black.
plain on?
Black, yes. And then what we suggested is come up with a crawling type, ivy type, which I've described, and I think Ms. the planters that would go over there would be, where was it? I was just reading that.
I was just only concerned with the material of the block.
Yeah, the material we discussed, and he as to add a veneer on that. It's.
But you would paint it to match the house, or?
Well, the only matching house will be stucco that, and then it will be sort of green. Will just take care of that blank wall, which it's like a retaining wall, because behind it is the swimming pool.
The planter that's at the base of the house.
In front of it,
east elevation, part of it's existing at this point?
there is
And then you're adding on to that?
on the side there is existing,
And you're adding on to that?
and we're adding a portion of it there is, and then we're adding of it.
And
So
how high is that? Like a
it's only
foot?
18
Does that go
inches.
into, is it solid underneath, or does that go into the earth?
It
Is it on-
goes to the earth. It's not.
Okay.
There is no concrete
Okay.
underneath.
That's all the question that I have.
I just have a couple.
Yeah, questions to you.
First one is, on your front entrance area.
Yes.
You have a new post coming down.
Yeah.
It's a square post. Would you be opposed to doing a round one to match the other posts that are around the house?
Well, we don't have any round things in this building.
You do in the back. You have two posts. I think they're
Oh, on the
4
other side, yeah. I mean, I can see if I go a post, it's going to look with the. See, I try to keep the character up in front. It's everything is right angled. So I rather than suddenly introducing. It's up to you guys if you want that. I'm ready to go. It's not a big thing to go with a
Okay,
round
I mean,
square
just for
post.
consistency.
Yeah, yeah.
Consider it. Okay. The second thing is the comment that was made regarding the stair volume and how there's a 6-inch on one side, there's another 6-inch pop out on the other side. Is that something that you're okay with if we aligned it, or what? How do you feel about
See, we had it aligned. I just wanted to create that very thin shadow. It's not a. See, if I cut that to a foot, then the staircase, I cannot move the staircase on the lower level because it so happened that now it became very tight. I eliminated, let's say, which is I hate to do, but I did it. The second floor where I'm entering now directly into the master bedroom, which all my designs, this is the first time I'm going to do that. It's a sacrifice. Just, I said, let me do it. I never tried to do that. See, even though it's a private, one stair going only to a master bedroom, nobody else will be going up. But again, I hate somebody walks into just, especially in a master bedroom, and with all this expense that's going to occur on this house.
I think I do agree with the comment that it does look accidental, and I know.
No, it's not an
I understand
accidental.
that. I know. You planned it out for days, but I mean, it looks accidental. But I'm just
The
saying
only
that,
thing I can do is, what will happen, I'll shift to this side further, and I'll do that.
But I think the reason why we made a comment before that we didn't want it all aligned was because it was a 2-story sort of volume. Now it at least gets cut off by the roof line, so it still reads as, a first story and then a second story on top of that. So I think that comment, that's where it was derived from.
That one line over there, the line that Ms. Toledo was telling me, that's 6 inches that's projecting out on the bedroom area.
Right. That
from
looks
the
like
entrance.
a framing error. I mean, that's what it's going to look like when it's done.
See, another issue would have been is when the roof
okay,
lines coming. See, I had so many restrictions on this project. I mean, I can't. This became one of my. I rather not.
I understand.
discuss that more.
Thank you.
So, if you guys have any other questions,
Mr. Simoni, do you have any questions for the applicant? No. Thank you, sir.
okay.
I got one.
Of course.
Regarding the comment that he made about the posts in the rear there,
Yes.
is that just, how big are those posts?
There. See, I didn't want to go a large. Actually, there are the posts over there.
How
It's
large?
a 4-inch pipes.
It's a 4-inch pipe, okay.
Yeah.
But in your rendering, you're actually showing a circular post.
She's talking about the back portion.
Right, but I'm saying that on your floor plan, you
Rendering
show a
is-
square post, and on your rendering, you show a circle or a round post.
Okay, you're right.
So maybe your render.
Yeah, rendering it. If you want, if you think that,
I personally think a round would go just because
Okay,
you're going
I'll
with
do
the
that
look
round.
of the existing.
I'll
so-
change the round.
Okay.
That's the least to worry. By much sphere probably to see it's.
You might want
I
it a
don't
little
want
bigger.
to go
Little
to a
bigger.
4-inch. That will look Mickey Mouse.
6 inch, 5.5, whatever.
Or a little bit 8-inch just to give a volume.
You look at it, but I think
Yeah.
8 inches is a little big.
See, 4 inches is like
Oh, 4
a
inches small.
factory type of it. But the back portion, I'm not touching structurally. It's all there, all that canopy types covered. Yeah, it's 8-inch. Okay, thank you.
And just a question, you eliminated the balcony from the original design to this design. It's something you didn't consider at this design, in the second floor off of the master bedroom?
No, I eliminated that. I eliminated that because it was going to go very close again to the front, and that was one of your comments to have it that volume type thing on the second floor to go with the lower
Yes, sir.
mess.
And it's something you're comfortable not having on the present design?
See, I rather not see any houses with a balcony nowadays.
Very
Because it's becoming a barbecue and dishes
Very good.
storage.
Just wanted to make sure, because I
No.
saw it, I want to make sure that you were given every opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Why don't we close the public session? Mr. Silman, why don't you start us?
Okay. Well, since I wasn't present at the initial hearing, perhaps it might be wise for the rest of the group to talk about the project first. And then I certainly have my thoughts on this.
Okay.
But I wasn't privy to what was discussed before, and that will allow me to get a better handle of what the group thought were the bigger issues and if they've been addressed.
Okay, good. Okay. Ms. Palmer?
Okay, I have several comments. I agree with staff regarding that 6-inch. It's going to look like an accident. So if there was a way to fix that, you can work with that. My other comment is, you have numerous sizes of overhangs. I'm concerned the overhang on the second floor, which would be the east elevation, there's a portion of 20-some-odd feet that has a 1-foot overhang. And then you've got these huge 7-foot, 5-foot overhangs. If that could be increased, so at least it has a 2-foot overhang. It's just on the second floor, just in front of where the stairs show. And my other comment is that you've proposed a vine to help screen that retaining wall. That vine won't work because it's not a clinging vine, so I'm going to suggest using a cat's claw vine. If you need the botanical name, I can give you that later. And that
Cat's
portion.
claw.
Cat's claw.
Like the name.
Yeah. Anyway, what he's proposed is a deciduous vine that's not going to stick to the wall. So I think the improvements are a big help to what was proposed before. Let's see if I have anything else. And I agree that that front post would look better as a 6-inch post. I think that's the only comments I have at this point.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Mr. Yu?
I think my concerns were already answered by the applicant, and I think it is an improvement to the project, and so I'm ready to support it.
Thank you. Mr. Simonian?
Well, I really look to the rest of the group for guidance as to what was presented before and what's been presented today. Insofar as looking at the project and how it's improved from the last submittal, I see quite a bit of improvement in the mass and scale of it. And so the roofs integrate much better than as presented before. I think it's important to note that some of the planners and block walls and whatnot to match the existing as the applicant has proposed and to come as close to that as possible. And with this kind of, it's almost like a mid-century, nondescript mid-century style. Some of the rounder columns certainly would, I think, work better than the square look. So the more we could stay true to the style, the more successful I think this design will be. Some other things to consider are these aluminum windows, and it's nice that the applicant is proposing this anodized bronze color as opposed to the regular aluminum color, because that's going to, I think, integrate much better. There's some wide sliders off of the living room, and it'd be nice to recess some of these windows and sliders to give some depth and thickness to these walls. I think that would help the design quite a bit. And besides that, I'll refer to some of the comments that were made earlier. Thank you.
Okay. I too think that it's come a long way, and thank you for being so successful with it. I think it works well in some of these little areas which are not major at all. Well, I think it'll be, it's good, for lack of a better word. Mika, I saw the comments here, and some of them have already been addressed, so that's good. I wrote down 6 or 5 different ones. Ms. Palmer, you want, and I think we've all talked about, to have there being a differential between one plane and the next plane of 6 inches increased. That would be a condition or something you would want?
I think it would be a condition.
Okay, so condition. See it? Okay, the next one I
I'd
wrote.
like to ask a question
course.
on that one. There are 2 planes where that 6 inches is present.
The north and the east.
Right.
For direction. The north side and the east side.
Yep.
And my question is, because the applicant indicated that having to, on the second floor, move that stair volume back was a challenge for him. I'm wondering if the board would allow the bedroom on that floor to pop forward, if there's some flexibility. We had recommended simply the stair volume move back, but that may be somewhat difficult with the headroom, and he's spent a lot of time on these plans. We won't want to incur, a whole nother go-round for that 1 foot.
I'd be okay to give him some leeway to try to shape that.
Okay, and so that's on the north side. On the east side, there seems to be a little bit less flexibility. So we just want to make sure that
It's okay.
we know exactly what the board is asking for there.
One of the things that may help, Mr. Simonian mentioned it, is maybe that wall, which looks like it's being framed as a 2x4 wall now, be framed instead of a 2x4, a 2x6 wall to thicken it up. You still use the same bearing lines, and you get a little bit increased reveal. Not a full 18 inches, but that could help so that you get more of a reveal there, and not so that you're not conflicting the function of the stairs, which is tight, but you're actually just thickening up the wall towards the outside. And then you get a little bit of that reveal you're talking about, Mr. Simonian.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So,
Sounds good.
so maybe to satisfy one of the conditions is consider thickening up the forward-facing wall by framing 2x6
On the north
on
and
the,
east side.
yes, and that will thicken up that wall and give you a little bit of a deeper.
So furring or thicken up the framing?
Yes. You
Okay,
get an
either
increase.
one. Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, and then the other ones that I had written here, so we got that one. Ms. Palmer indicated that the smaller overhangs be increased. My thinking is that if the smaller overhangs match the lower smaller overhangs, those are kept consistent, and then the other ones increase, you'll have that same consistent from the ground floor to the first floor. So my thinking at this point is just to make sure that your smaller overhangs on the second floor match the smaller overhangs on the first floor, and then you get that consistency, and then you get those increased overhangs wherever they are. Just a thought. Any thoughts, Ms.?
I just think we need to have more matchup because there's 7 different sizes of overhangs, so it becomes. But if they match up on the same side, I think that's fine.
Okay, so that the second floor smaller overhangs match the first floor smaller overhangs. Okay? And then, Mr. Simonian, you indicated something concerning planters. I wrote here planters is number 4.
Yes, the planters and the block walls that are really depicted in the rendering, the elevations indicate that the blocks are going to match the existing stone veneer and so forth. And I think that's important, and at the same time, because we don't have a material board and we don't have specific pictures of that we need to make sure that it's an appropriate veneer and that it's a veneer that matches that kind of mid-century, nondescript mid-century look. And what's there right now works actually quite well. And so as long as we mimic that, it'll be successful. At the same time, the block walls, too, we could go different. It could be, let's say, more of a square block pattern, like a 4x4 or a 6x6 or whatever the dimension is that you end up thinking is the right size. But that kind of a square block look will go a long way. It's very much true to its form. So that's another thing to consider as well. So you don't have to match the blocks with the planners, the block retaining wall. So it's something they could work with staff on, I think, but there should be some guidance there.
Okay. And staff can work with it. Good guidance. Okay. The recessed sliders, I think we talked about that by thickening up, so I think we're good there. And then the last one, Mr. Ewan indicated that and Mrs. Palmer, the front post should be round and maybe increased to 6-inch diameter.
Or reduced to 6 from 8.
Okay.
But I'm okay with whatever.
But just make it round.
It's
Is
round, yeah.
okay. And that
But I
would be
think
round.
4 is going to look tight. It needs to be beefed
And
up.
I think here based on that. So.
We're thinking steel columns, or what are they?
It looks like it's
You
a
said
wood
steel
post.
columns.
They're
It's
wood.
Oh, steel.
That's what's in the
Steel.
bag. So
Okay.
All right, so a round column there. Okay. You got those, Milka?
Steal my pen.
Yeah. I just have a couple of questions.
Okey doke.
Red pen.
we threw it. It's already.
Let me just kind of go over what I have to make sure I'm stating it correctly. Use round posts, and I have anywhere from 6 to 8-inch diameter. Is that what I heard? Okay. For those, I'm calling them supporting columns, and not to use square posts. Okay. Thicken or fur out the again, the wall on the second floor to differentiate the two forms from 6 inches to 18 inches? Or are we giving them a number or not?
18 might be a little too much for furring out.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's
Just
practical.
increase, I would concur. I would just increase it from its present thickness by furring out the wall. I think anything you do.
Or I'd be okay if they aligned them. I mean, are we okay with that? I mean, or there's nothing.
So we're not going to push it out like we initially had stated.
No,
It's
'cause I
more
think
of a
that comment
minor.
came from when it was a one double-story volume, and then the idea of differentiating the staircase area was
Okay.
one of the ideas. Does that sound?
Sounds like more if it's, compared to what we originally had proposed, it's more of a minor differentiation in the two forms instead of before when we were introducing or considering 18 inches. Obviously, that was going to increase quite a bit compared to the existing, or to what we're proposing now.
So on both the north and the east elevation, you would be fine if it was flush and it read as one form?
Yeah.
A problem that the applicant may have, if you look on sheet A5, that because the stairs is kind of like in its position and can't move much because of the way it works, and if you look at the wall that we're talking about along the east elevation, he's getting, if he furs that, if he increases that wall, which is adjacent to the walk-in closet and the bathroom where the toilets and the bidet and the shower is, he gets close to that skylight, and it's an existing skylight, and that's like he's clearing that. So,
Yeah, but I think, not aligning something because of an existing, whatever Velux 24 by 24 skylight doesn't make any sense.
So if on the east side, perhaps they fur out with an additional 4-inch stud so that maybe it's a 10-inch differentiation, and then on the north side, it's flush. That would allow them to actually have the stair grow.
I'm okay with any combination of just
Okay.
not 6 inches on each side.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's okay to be flush at the north, but again, having an additional 4-inch stud on the east side.
Okay.
Use a smaller overhang on the second floor to match the smaller overhang on the first floor.
Okay.
And the new planter wall material should match the existing planter material currently there,
Yes.
as closely as possible.
Correct.
There was also, maybe I didn't follow something regarding the block wall.
A consideration,
Okay. Which block wall were you referring to? Because I missed
best,
that.
best indicated on the rendering. So if we look at the rendering, there's that block wall on the right side and also by the gate.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
A consideration that we could utilize more of a square mid-century concrete block that would differentiate itself and be more true to the style.
Okay, so that would be consider modifying those.
So like a scored line,
Correct. Correct.
so it reads almost like a common bond.
Exactly. So where it's got those vertical lines that match up, and it's square, and then you have the round tubes, you have the anodized bronze windows, you have the windows that are set in, deep overhangs. All of a sudden, it starts to have the characteristics of a mid-century home.
Is that going to be a consideration? Or do you want it to be a comment? Or condition, rather?
I think it will greatly increase the aesthetic. We can't have cross-communication, but I think it'll greatly increase the aesthetic value of your home. So I'm not going to make it a condition, but it's up to you to think and talk to your client if that's the right approach for you to take.
And lastly was to recess the sliding windows. I believe that was at the
It's already
living room? Or,
That was a consideration you had mentioned.
I'm sorry, the last one, I missed it.
For the sliders, to consider recessing those.
Yes, especially where you have, these sliders over here.
oh, okay, that's at the back.
Yeah, I mean, these are really big sliders. So, I mean, you have this opportunity to create something special there. So, again, those are considerations that I think one would have to look at.
Okay. And that's a consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, that would be on the south elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that would really improve that outdoor space right there, the indoor-outdoor integration.
And then we also heard to change the vine at the planter to cat's claw, something that would cling more to the wall.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion?
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve based on the comments made.
I second.
Okay, that was a motion to approve with conditions. Do we also, by the way, I forgot to mention this, do we want to include this, the remaining comments or suggestions or recommendations that staff made in the report? For example, to use the smooth stucco, to use the aluminum bronze
Which they're
window?
already doing, but yes.
Right, okay.
Correct.
So I'll incorporate that in addition to these conditions and comments. Okay, that was a motion by Board Member Palmer and a second by Board Member Yu to approve the project with conditions. Board Member Palmer,
Yes.
Board Member Yu,
Yes.
Board Member Simonian,
Yes.
Chairperson Insua.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. No, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good project. Thank you, sir. Okay, why don't we go to our next project? The case number is 1 PDR 2010-040-A. Project address is 515 North Verdugo Road. And why don't we have our staff presentation, and that would be Milk again. We're saving money today. Milk, go ahead. It's your project.
The project, again, is located at 515 North Verdugo Road. It is a first-time submittal for final review. And the project is located in the R1 Low Density Residential Zone, Floor Ratio District 2, on Verdugo Boulevard, literally just north of the 134, because it's right adjacent to the south. And about a block from Monterey, where Wilson Middle School is located, just for reference. The site is currently developed with a one-story, 1,295 square foot single-family house. The proposal involves the removal of an illegal addition along the south side of the house and the construction of an 809 square foot addition in this area. The total proposed floor area with the addition will be 2,104 square feet. Presently, there is a 400 square foot attached garage which will remain. The property is located in the Oak Ridge neighborhood, which is characterized by the Spanish colonial revival and period homes. However, homes in the immediate area along Verdugo Road and Woodbury Road to the north exhibit various architectural styles, including ranch, Spanish, some traditional, and more recently built homes. In terms of the site planning, no major changes are being made to the existing site plan conditions, or site conditions rather. The addition is appropriately located on the site along the south side. It's not significantly actually visible from the street, especially on Verdugo Road. You have cars frequently passing on more higher speeds than normal at times. So it's, unless you stop and park your car, that would be the best way to be able to see the addition in the future. And again, there's quite a bit of landscaping there too, which provides screening. In terms of mass and scale, the overall mass and scale, again, of the building will not significantly change. As previously indicated, the project will maintain its existing overall height and setback. The size, of course, will increase in terms of its building size, but again, it is appropriate. It is appropriate in relation to the general neighborhood. And in terms of the building design, the applicant is proposing stucco for the addition. The way the house it currently is constructed actually has board and batten siding on the street-facing facade. It has a low-lying roof design with extended eaves, which are all character defining features of ranch-style home or architecture. And the applicant is proposing to maintain that existing look. They're not making any modifications to the front of the house. They're proposing aluminum-clad wood windows at the rear. The only comment that staff, in terms of its design, staff has made as it relates to the front facade, relates to the windows. As you know, in terms of the use of material for ranch-style homes, typically wood windows is the type of material that these homes were built with, or windows were used on this style home. However, the front windows appear to be aluminum, and staff's comment is, and again, it's up to the board to decide, but because the front windows are visible from the street, the board can request that the existing glass on the front windows that have internal grids be removed and replaced with a new glass that has external grids or no grids at all. The way they actually have been installed is appropriate because they have retained the existing wood frame, wood sill. They are recessed, so they appear to be obviously block frame installation. But again, however, the use of the internal grids is something that staff is, especially when we come across this, let's say at the public counter, we recommend using external grids instead of internal. The new windows on the addition do appear to be recessed and have a wood sill underneath, which is appropriate. The window details does not specify, if the new windows will have internal or external grids, but again, staff recommends using other external, and no grids at all for the windows on the addition. And in summary, a strong effort is being made to preserve the existing building material and overall style. So the design of the addition as well as the proposed material for the addition are appropriate for the house. Staff recommendation is to approve the project because it is compatible with the design guidelines and the overall neighborhood context. And just the two comments, one again is a consideration regarding the front windows, and the item number 1 refers to the location or proper identification of the trash area location on the site. And that concludes staff presentation. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer.
Thank you, Milka. Any questions for staff?
No.
I have one. The front window,
Yes.
was it installed with permits and everything? Everything was okay?
I didn't find any permits on file unless the applicant or the owner has some record of this, then we can take a look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. Very good. Why don't we have our first speaker, and our only speaker, actually, Marco Giordano. Oh, sorry. I opened the door for you, so.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Your
How are
name
you?
and address, please.
My name is Marco Giordano. My office is at 2236 Beverly Boulevard, Los Angeles.
Thank you, sir.
How are you?
You have 5 minutes.
All right. Well, I think Milka did a great job of presenting the project. So unless you have some questions, I'd be happy to clarify any questions you might have. And open it up back for you. Do you have any questions?
I have one question. The door outside the dining room,
Yes.
it appears it's a slider, and in the door schedule, it just says a 30 by 80 door. Is that a one door or a
No. 30 by, yes, it's a pair. It'll be a pair.
pair?
It'll be a pair of 30s, 30 inch wide.
Okay, that's a pair, all right. That's my only question.
Thank you, Ms. Power. Mr.
Do
Yu?
you know if that front window was done with permits and all of those things?
No, I know it was changed out in 1991. And, if you look at the photographs today, the front windows are fully in keeping with the context on the block. I know that might be an irrelevant point, but
Okay. So you don't know that?
no.
When we say front windows, are we referring to the front windows right around the driveway?
Let me point out the ones.
Presumably the ones facing onto the street.
Street.
It'd be the 11 ones.
This one here?
this
That'd be 11.
Right,
This
this one,
one?
and there's this one, and there's this little one in the jog, right? So all the street faces.
And these are some sort of a black aluminum existing window with internal grids? I see. Okay. Thank you.
And are there proposed windows in the back, internal grids, or those?
No. All the new windows will be either no grid or a surface-mounted grid. Can I see the poster?
And Milka, if you got the drawings in front of you, just to make sure, go to sheet A 2.1. And that's the first floor plan or the floor plan. Just to be clear, when you get to it, let me know. Which windows is staff recommending the external grids or no grids? Just to make sure.
Window W10,
Got it?
window, hold on, I need to orient myself better. W7, W9, and did I already say W11?
Nope.
Okay. W11, and I'm not sure about W8, how visible it is
Okay.
when one is facing the street.
Okay, so,
Because I know that faces the dining area.
yep. Okay.
I mean, general rule of thumb, for example, when we come across this at the public counter, all those windows that are directly facing the street
Visible.
that are visible are the ones that, again, we have less flexibility on compared to those that are located on the sides that are not visible. Sometimes when you, on the side windows, like typically the first window on a side facade is generally visible, or on the driveway side. Although, again, we've tried to be somewhat more recently, a little more lenient. But
Well-
again, it's up to the board to decide.
Okay, thank you, Mika. Just if stay
Yeah,
there.
no problem.
Ms. Palmer, do you have any
Sorry.
thoughts on that? We have these existing windows that have been there for a while.
Well, I'm trying to think in a cost manner. You drive by, you can't stop on the street without being rear-ended. So it's not like you can slowly drive by and see it. There's plenty of vegetation. I don't really have a problem with maintaining what's there, because they have 3 types of windows now, so.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Onion?
Question I had was on a different topic. It's the rear windows, which, for example, in the part of the addition that we're referring to, which is W1 and W2, say, you've indicated on the rendering that it seems to have a wood frame and a wood sill. Is that the intention?
The intention is essentially to match the installation detail of the existing. The existing windows, they don't necessarily have a frame. At the jamb, around the perimeter of the jamb, they've installed like a brick mold, and then they've brought the plaster right to the brick mold. And then my intent is to match that same installation detail.
What kind of molding, you said?
I call it a brick mold. It's a mold that you install when you put a window into a brick opening. It's a little square molding that just holds the window in place. And in this case, you have your windows with jambs. At the forward edge of that jamb, instead of putting a wide frame around it, that frame is made smaller, and it's really made to receive plaster.
Is your brick mold, is that something that you're going to apply as a wood piece, or is you going to have it pre-made with the
Oh,
window?
no, it'll be wood. It'll match exactly the existing windows.
You know the question, just because they do make them with...
Yeah, no.
So,
My details, the windows will be shipped with frame only. And then,
Okay.
now, I'm recommending that we do an exterior aluminum clad, just for durability. It lasts a long time with factory finish. The inside will be wood. It'll either be double hung. I might have some casements over the kitchen sink there.
For W2 window. And would they have like a mullion system? Divided light?
Yes.
And they would be external?
External.
External.
And the frequency of which will just match what's currently here. That is up to the house.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We only had one speaker card. Homeowners, okay. Okay. Well, why don't we close the public session of the project? Mr. Smodian, you want to start us on this one?
Well, insofar as the switching out of the windows in the front, I think it's important for us to be somewhat consistent with what we've done in the past, and that is when there's been any kind of an illegal window swap, if it's visible from the street, then we actually focus on them and get them to correct it. And we've been lenient in times in just requiring them to just replace the windows, the glass, I should say, within an existing window. So if they had internal grids, if possible, they remove the glass, get rid of the internal grids, and then put double plain glass in there. So my approach of those windows W7 through W11 would be to be consistent with past precedents.
Okay.
As far as the addition is concerned in the back, it's a modest addition. certainly been addressed that it's adjacent to the freeway, and at the same time, it's not quite visible from the street. And so the intent is to just provide some sort of continuity between what is existing and what is proposed. And I think in order to provide that continuity, we need to provide some clear direction as to how to treat the windows, because basically it's just a stucco box that they're adding, and there's not much more detail to it than that. I think some of the existing pictures indicate that W10 and W11 actually have a wood sill that wraps around the corner, and so W10 and W11's wood sill turn that corner, and we could introduce the same detail where W1 is being proposed. And so I think that's a nice way of turning that corner on that addition. Furthermore, if some sort of a window frame is being proposed, as indicated on the renderings, which I think certainly will add some depth and character to the addition and make it more copacetic with the rest of the design, that's a good idea as well. And so as far as the dimension of it and the size of it, doesn't really, I think, affect the design all that much. If it's just a 2-inch or 3-inch or 4-inch, but we should just be consistent. And so if the front is a certain dimension, we should do the same in the addition and make it as consistent as possible to make it look less as an addition, as more of a thought-out piece. But in general, it's a modest addition. There's not really that much more to comment on from my point of view than that. Thank you. Mr. Yu, do you want to be next?
I mean, I agree with Art. I think the addition is in the back. Its impact is pretty minimal. Roof-wise, they're adding with the same slope, same material. They're keeping with that. But I do agree that you're right. We should borrow as much detail as we can from the existing portion of it. I mean, the house itself, it's pretty well kept up and everything. So, borrowing that detail of that corner window area, or the 2 windows at the corner, borrowing that detail is a good idea for the W1. And you're right. I mean, from the pictures it's hard to tell, and then the renderings are showing that there is sort of some kind of larger frame around the window, and we should try to match that as much as possible, because the proposed one it's only going to have that 1.5 inch or 2 inch brick mold, so that's going to look very small compared to what's shown in the rendering. So I think in keeping with that, I think that's a good idea to borrow that detail.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, I'm okay.
Ms. Palmer?
I agree, it's a modest addition. My only comment is you have a small little 4-foot patio coming out of the dining room area, and when you're in the dining room and looking out, you're looking at sort of half of a rail. If it's possible to go out there, you might just extend that deck out further, maybe 8-10 feet, and clear over to the kitchen, and just make long, wide stairs clear across, so you're not looking at a railing, you just have a railing on the side, and you have a usable space for a chair, tables, to listen to the freeway. So that's my only comment.
Okay. I concur. Of course, sir. Why don't you please come up and...
You have to reopen.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Why don't we open it for comment? Yes, sir.
I just wanted, so for the windows, essentially, the intent is to match the existing detail.
Name for the record.
One more time, the name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My name is Marco Giordano.
Okay.
And you need my address? 236 Beverly Boulevard.
Okay.
My question, I just in a discussion, okay, that what I described is different than what presents in the rendering. But looking at the photographs, you see the photographs of the house. So the intent, as I understand this discussion, is to continue that same detail that we find on the existing part of the house throughout the new addition, correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. I was just needed to be clear. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
One question I have for the designer.
Sir, we have a question, please.
You're proposing gridded windows at the rear,
Correct.
and
For the new work.
and if we are leaning towards replacing the front windows with plain glass, dual glaze and so forth, but at the same time, you're going to have a discrepancy there. Are there any issues with going with plain hung windows in the rear or whatever type of windows they are, they're plain? Or is your preference if you rather go with a gridded, in which case you would have to replace the front windows to be consistent with them, windows W7 to W11, to have true grid windows? Is there any preference on that end?
Are you giving me an option to keep the existing front windows
Well,
as
I
they are?
just think it's something that could be discussed at this point.
No, absolutely. But I'm not clear on the question.
I think,
Because the,
I think I'll restate it real quickly. You indicated that the new rear windows are going to be wood on the inside
correct.
and then aluminum on the exterior with reveal sticking or mullions.
Correct.
You also indicated, if we understand correctly, that the possible replacement of the exterior windows along the front, W7 through W11, could be just glass, no divided light in any way. And I think Mr. Simoni is saying is, would you consider, if you're going to already change, though, or proposing, or would consider changing out the front windows to make sure that the front windows match like the new ones you're adding, whether they be divided light or not
Oh,
divided light?
absolutely. Okay. So I didn't mention changing the front windows.
Right.
It's one of your comments. If we have to change them, the intent will be to make them match the new and all new windows will match.
Got it.
Whether they match either plain or they match with an exterior mounted grid.
But do you have a preference? How much do you love the grids? Do you love grids?
Well,
Yes, we love the
okay.
grids.
And they
as
wanna
long-
keep the
yeah,
grids.
and as long as they match,
Yeah,
you're free to choose.
Yeah,
Okay.
no
Thank
problem.
you, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Why don't we close it then? Anything else?
I'm sorry.
We're good. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Nope, Mr. Moonian?
The colors to remain the same on the house.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not this.
Well,
I'm sorry, my printer just doesn't get that
That's
nice.
so just to wrap up my comments is the addition is fine. The windows are an issue. It is sad, unfortunate, that the windows were changed out in the front, and that to be doing a relatively modest and well-designed addition, to come to the municipality to find out that you have a window potential change-out is probably not great news. But, as Mr. Simonian is saying, we have to be consistent. And that one of the things that we have always been consistent on, whether it be new design or designs that have to be reinstalled. I think we had a project not too many months ago over on Highland, if I remember correctly, where there was a discrepancy and they needed to remove those interior non-permanent windows. It's short of being code. It's what we have to do. So I'm sure all of us are feeling like we hate to have you have to do the additional expense that you may not have been considering, but unfortunately, there's a relatively narrow leeway with respect to window change-outs that were done that were not permitted. So for me personally, and I'm sure I speak for all of the other members here, we're sorry if this is the way we're going to have to go, yet there's not much we can do beyond trying to be consistent and uphold what we have been doing for many, many years.
But I would add to that if it was done with permits, and we would be okay with keeping
would be
them
a
because
non-issue.
they were fine the way that they were put in at that time.
Correct. And I believe
Well,
Milka's-
we will for sure verify one more
Verify.
time before we have them go through this
Correct.
process.
Other than that, the addition is fine. Everything that you've chosen is fine. I think that we're very much in support for this project. So, having said that, Milka, do you want to read back some of the comments?
Yeah,
that we've
I'd like
said?
to do that. Some of them I did not get, but I do have, this is what I have. So, again, we were discussing the windows at the front, so again, remove the glass on the front windows, and that would be windows W7 through W11. And either introduce external grids or no grids.
Well,
He said he's going to introduce grids. Do we want to
just for
specify that?
clarification purposes, Windows W7 to W11.
Right.
If they've been permitted in the past, then it's a no issue.
Right.
If they were not permitted, then they have the option of either removing the glass and installing plain, non-gridded glass into the existing windows, or introducing exterior glue-on grids to match what is being proposed in the rear. Is that my understanding?
Right. So, to restate it.
So you'd be okay with
To
plans?
restate it, but briefly. If the windows W7 through W11
Right.
shows that were not permitted, they would need to be changed out, and that those windows should be changed out to match the windows of choice that are being proposed on the new construction. So whichever way they want to go with the new construction, with exterior gridded windows or non-exterior gridded window with full
To match
panes,
the addition.
To match the addition. I think that simplifies that thinking.
And there was a comment, and I didn't quite get that from Board Member Simonian when you were discussing about introducing treatment that's currently on the house, or I believe there's some sort of architectural treatment that you were referring to in particular, present on the house, and to use that for the new windows on the addition, window W1.
The existing windows W10 and W11 have a wood sill that wraps around that corner and continues on. There's a picture of it that Mr. Insue was actually pulling out.
Did you say window W7 and
W10
10,
and W11
okay?
have an existing window sill condition. And to utilize the same window detail on the new proposed W11s. W1s.
W1s. Okay. And Board Member Palmer made a comment about extending the
Just a
deck consideration.
recommendation, yes.
Can you repeat the comment?
To extend the deck outside the dining room to become a more usable deck, eliminate the railing and use large steps back.
Okay. So to extend the deck outside the dining area to be more usable. And that was a consideration. Those are all the comments I have.
There's one more comment in regards to the windows that I have, that there should be a frame around the window, as shown in the renderings, that is consistent with the existing windows, rather than the brick stop that was described by the applicant.
You got that, Milka? Okay. Do we have a,
I move to approve the project with the conditions.
I'll second.
Okay, that was a motion by Board Member Simonian and a second by Board Member Palmer to approve with conditions. Board Member Palmer?
Yes.
Board Member Simonian?
Yes.
Board Member Yu?
Yes.
Chairperson Insua?
yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We don't have any more projects. Do we have anything else on?
Yes, we do. We have the
I know
minutes
we have the
from
minutes here.
December the 9th. And actually, Board Member, thank you. No more on the agenda.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Milka.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. So the minutes from December 9th, 2010, Board Member Aliano, Insua, Palmer, and Simonian were here. Board Member Yu was absent. So we would need to have a motion either by Board Member Palmer or Board Member Simonian.
I just want to comment on the first paragraph, I think, of the first house. We've eliminated the word foot several times when it comes to dimensions. There's 4 of this, 2 of that. I think, I don't have them in front of me, but we need to add that foot.
Let me look at the first.
I think it was in the first paragraph on the first one. Have them here.
Do you mind?
Yeah, let me find them here.
I'm not sure
Let's see.
which page you're referring to.
Yeah, let me,
Is that in the records of decision?
come back here. No. Well, I don't see it here. everything was in there, I just thought there was a word missing. But I agree with everything else. I don't
You guys
see-
snuck it in.
They snuck it in. On my computer, it said differently.
No clue.
I don't see it. Nope, I don't see it. Nope.
Sure.
Might have been I didn't have my glasses on. So I move that we approve the minutes.
Oh, thank you.
I'll second it.
One second, I've lost my sheet where to record. Here we go. Okay, so I have a motion by Board Member Palmer, a second by Board Member Simonian, Board Member. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that Board Member Chairman Insula?
Timonian.
Someone's leading me astray here. Board Member Palmer.
Yes.
Board Member Simonian.
Yes.
Chairman Insula.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. And 2 items, order of business. One, we would like you to consider who you would like to elect as chairwoman or chairman for 2011, because it is time for elections. So we would like to, in 2 weeks, elect, re-elect, whatnot, a new chair for 2011. And with that said, also, we are going to be changing staff liaison. So I just want to thank DRB Board Number 1 very much for some great, wonderful times at DRB. I will be moving to Board 2, and Roger Kiesel will be becoming the staff liaison for Board Number 1 as of the next meeting. So it's been a
Do we have
pleasure
a
working
choice?
with
Do we have
all
a
of you.
vote? Do we have everything around here is done with a vote?
We veto that. So I wish you well. Roger is a wonderful planner.
We're going to miss you.
You'll work well together.
You're
So
very
with that said, Happy New Year to everyone.
All right.
And is there a
Is
motion?
Stephanie still going to be here? Oh.
Stephanie will still be here. So yes, you will still have
Thought maybe
Stephanie.
you guys were just switching chairs.
So with that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
We don't need a second.
All in
so
favor?
vote.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.